If you enjoy our content, we invite you to like, comment your favorite team, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And special thanks to our partner, Amazon.
In total that either served as mentors or as reviewers, judges during the early rounds, and they gave so much time. And then we have a student advisory board, and it was the first year we've done this, and Tassie was part of it.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm the co-founder and strategic lead of Bearcat Thrift. Manish is my co-founder who leads logistics, Sandy's our marketing lead, Teddy's our finance lead, and Madison's our HR lead, and we're all struggling. 1 in 5 students skip on buying essentials because they're just too expensive. And platforms like Depop and Poshmark, they take up to 20% in seller fees. Bearcat Thrift is a simple student-led marketplace where students can buy, sell, or donate essentials affordably, accessibly, and with dignity. Let's say you need a button-up for a pitch competition. A good quality one online starts at over $80, but you found one at Bearcat Thrift for just $10. That was my exact situation. Now imagine that kind of impact multiplied across campuses. Our first event, we had 10 student sellers, over 80 attendees, and we had student sellers generate over $300 in revenue. 4 weeks later, at our second event, we had 23 student sellers, over 200 attendees, and our student sellers generated over $1.4 thousand. We also reached 1,000 followers on Instagram, were featured in the student press, and gained a Red Bull sponsorship. This was done with zero startup capital. With just 2 events, we've saved 375 pounds of items from landfills, and we've helped students save over $5,000. And in June, we'll be incubated at the Lawrence End Field Center, where we will receive $2,000 in funding and mentorship for our next phase. We've had a single mom who earned income for her child. We had a fashion student resell custom designs, and we've also had an entrepreneur launch her own candle brand. 30% of our sellers came back from our first event. And at our second event, we had 40 seller signups, but we had to waitlist over 20 because we didn't have the space capacity, which is why we're expanding online to a web app. $3,000 will go towards expanding Bearcat Thrift into Hunter and FIT. And $2,000 will go towards hosting 2 annual events, where this will cover supplies, marketing, and logistics. This is built by students for students. We're building a more sustainable exchange. You can follow us at Bearcat Thrift, and thank you so much for listening.
With your background, how personal was this to you to start this? I know you referenced CUNY students.
It is a personal experience. I grew up in a very crowded household. We were all in one room, 3 beds, all sleeping together, me and my siblings. My sister's right there. And, it was hard. We had a bunch of clothes, but, because we would get them a size up just to keep them, being able to wear them later on, it was difficult to fit in, essentially.
What is a flat fee and how do you intend to become profitable?
We're introducing a low flat fee, which will be between $15 to $20, the same cost as a meal, because we want to be able to help sustain ourselves, essentially, and also provide a platform for our sellers. So when we launch onto a web app, we're going to take a small percentage of the transactions. We actually surveyed our sellers, and they said they would be happy to pay our flat fee because they were able to make a lot more from our events.
I love this. So the one question I have is when you launch online, that could be pretty crowded. Have you looked at what's around you and how you'll differentiate once you get online?
Other platforms like Depop and Poshmark, you have to mail it, you have to ship it and everything, but because we'll be incubated at the Lawrence End Field Center, students are able to drop off their packages, so this eliminates, any safety concerns, and we're very strict on security and everything, so this is how we're differentiating ourselves.
What's so innovative about EasyBeats? See, we're more than just a Hangouts app. We're planning on breaking into the travel industry. Young adults like to go outside, explore, see new places, and businesses want to attract these customers and get their business. Together, they are what makes up EasyBeats. We've interviewed hundreds of customers, and the problem is clear. Users are spending way too much time online across different applications. They don't know what they're doing. They're saving places, and they're just forgetting about them. There's a scattered information. They have impersonalized recommendations, all of which directly leads to businesses that have slow social media algorithms that are pushing out things is way too late, expensive marketing effort, and inefficient reservation systems. People don't want more choices, they want faster solutions. So this is why EasyMeets cuts down research time, it caters to group interest, it gives you personalized recommendations, and most importantly, it suggests automated plans. It's as simple as this. All you have to do is swipe right on a location, select an initial starting point, and then find places that are nearby, and you can even sync those plans to reach your friends. Social planning has been stuck in the past, and EasyMeets is helping meet today's customers' modern-day technology demands. Since May, we won 15K, and we've made significant progress since then. We've hired 2 staff engineers, including myself, and we've hired 4 other CUNY engineers to help build our app. We created an MVP, we tested the MVP. 6K will go towards maintaining our amazing, talented software engineers, 3K for marketing as a bunch of launch next time, and 1K for improving our UI design, since that's key to the user experience. We want to start out with 8 CUNY colleges, 4 of which we've already started with: City College in New York, Hunter College, Staten Island, and Faruqi. Then we'll expand to other alumni associations and to other colleges. I'm a software engineering intern at the New York State Department of Transportation, where I work on creating new applications, implementing security fixes, and adding new features.
The concept is people pick what they want, and then everything moves from there, or you actually make recommendations based on some sort of AI algorithm.
So it's actually both. The hardest thing from our research we found is that people, they can definitely just pick out one place to start out from, right? But choosing the areas that are around it, that's a bit harder, because everyone has different interests, different things they want to do. That is one of the core principles of EasyMeets, and helps people get to that part of the plan. In terms of generating automated recommendations, that is also another thing they can do once they've used the app enough. We understand like what they like, what they don't like. Then we can start generating it and personally recommending them plans.
Question: how do you get the businesses online? Because this is a platform that you're going to need to get the businesses. What's your plan around that?
Yeah, so we've actually developed a whole separate application that allows them to put themselves on our website, and on our application, and to allow them to send out the promotion. We even have 2 businesses that are on board and want to genuinely want to be on the app. So we know there's a demand from both the user side. We have a wait list of 500 students, and a bit demand from the business side from our interviews.
I'm struggling to understand how you're going to differentiate yourself.
There's no other app on the market, and we've done our research. There's no other app on the market that allows someone to first swipe on a location, pick a place that you want to go, and to coordinate and sync plans with friends.
I'm a computer science student at Hunter, passionate about bridging opportunity gaps and making career development accessible to students. And today I will be introducing Naomi, your pocket-sized career development app, aiming to guide students through their career journeys one quest at a time. In the middle, that baby, that's me, sleeping when I should have been planning out my career. Growing up in an immigrant household, career wasn't really something that we spoke about around dinner. My father never went to college. He always said that he wanted us to have better futures. I could rely on what my parents and sisters knew, which wasn't a lot, which brought me to 2, learning to be resourceful of what I did have. That incomplete 4-year plan is what brought me here now. And 3, I had to learn to become self-sufficient. So we identified that the problem was that students are overwhelmed. They don't know where to start, and they feel that they don't have enough time to dedicate to career planning. Naomi lives inside this app and acts as your career coach, breaks down and gamifies career development, large tasks like resume building, internship searching, and networking into small, doable tasks. The goal is to be able to complete a career booster module in just a few minutes, earning points as you go, making career development encouraging and maybe even fun. We know that this is not a unique idea, especially when social media is constantly plastered with ways to interview, tips for networking, how to cold message. We want to reimagine the way that students are interacting with career development resources. With the help of our team, we have started off with perspectives of STEM and humanities students. We want to build an app that is made by students for students. And with the support of our mentors, we are ensuring that we're meeting real student needs and building the foundation for our first launch. Most of that would go towards hiring student developers to help build the app. 1.5K would go towards testing the prototype on a group of users and getting valuable feedback so that we could then reiterate until we can finalize the final version. Our goal is to release a working beta and to start helping students take control of their career journeys.
What about the resume building part? Are you guys connecting the students with the advisor, or are you using AI?
We don't have enough advisors to meet all the students who are going to be using this, but we want to prompt students to think about the different skills that they used during their jobs and ask them these questions, and then eventually
put that into some sort of a generative AI to generate resume points and then put it into a template for them that they can then go back and edit.
What is your fee structure going to be?
We want this tool to be accessible and affordable for students. We considered starting at CUNY and maybe personalizing it to institutions and selling it to institutions.
How do you measure success?
The point of this app is so that students can use it in their free time. If we can see that users are consistently progressing through the modules, that would mean success to us.
Growing up, I would see piles of stone offcuts around me and wonder how can something so beautiful be thrown away. This early exposure to material led me to architecture. I studied architecture in Bombay, then went on to study at the Cooper Union, where I worked extensively with my hands in 3D fabrication, ceramics, printmaking. Here is our team. We work with 3 very talented artisans who are second-generation stone workers, Pradeep, Suklal, and Perla. Devarpal manages our branding and packaging, Isa manages our logistics on ground, and Rohan is our photographer. About 20 to 22% of stone is lost in the process of extraction. India alone produces 6 million tons of stone waste annually. About 74% of the US consumers want to know about the environmental impact of the products that they buy, and 50% are willing to pay a premium for sustainable alternatives. Bombay Stone lies at this intersection of sustainability, craft, and meaningful design. Bombay Stone does not believe in extraction. We use irregular pieces of cuts and give them a second life. We source stone waste locally and then bring it back to our workshop in Bombay, where we sketch directly onto the pieces, and from there we let the piece guide itself, and then the pieces are crafted, and here we have a final product which can be used in multiple ways. We exhibited at the Red Hook Open Studios in the years 2023 and 2024. There were like about 200 people, and even though we were in our early prototype stages, we were able to sell 10 products. No 2 pieces are identical. We are looking to increase our public presence. We want to do more summer pop-ups. We want to go beyond Brooklyn and invest in an e-commerce platform and develop our packaging and material storytelling cards with the artisan stories and the origin of the stone.
So are you looking to expand into other materials like alabaster and bone?
Alabaster, yes. A lot of these are locally sourced, so they're from India. So I'm open to exploring other crafts because I look at it as a dying industry.
So where does this transformation happen?
I have been living in New York. The workspace is in Bombay, so I travel back and forth. That's where my family is from. That's where I design and then I get the products. So right now we're getting it shipped in small batches. The price point is like the smallest piece is at $30 because the idea is to make marble and this object more affordable. Like it's looked at as a luxury material, right? That's unaffordable.
Are you thinking of taking the pieces you make and selling them online? Are you doing brick and mortar stores?
The piece that you see is priced at $30 right now. The one with the inlay work is at $120. So we got feedback at the local, like the pop-ups, that's what we are aiming for right now. And then we want to develop our e-commerce website. And then eventually, yeah, a storefront would be ideal.
Understand the importance of personal projects. You understand that initial adrenaline or spark of motivation you have, it kind of dies down slowly a little bit. Your chances are most people quit when they work alone. They're staring at their wall on their computer. It's just, it doesn't keep going. It's really hard. And if they quit when they work alone, we lose out on those amazing projects. So Codemate is the solution to that. We're a Tinder for tech projects. So we match you based on your aspirations, your goals, and your current skills, and with someone in your location. So you have that in person, no half in, half out with someone across the world, maybe in a different time zone. You're working in person together. And we're not asking you to start a company. It's not a co-founder matching. We're not talking about short-term projects towards your growth. Accessibility with AI to learn how to build and code is bigger more than ever. Last year alone, there were 108 million commitments or additions to projects on GitHub. just highlighting how many people are using AI to be accessible and learn. The problem is these people are all beginners and intermediates, and they don't necessarily have the full skill stack that you might have to build an application or a project from start to finish. The best part about working with short-term projects from a business standpoint is you have that revolving door of users. So people finish the project and then they come back for their next project, and it just keeps going and going. These are all the people we're trying to target, starting with the smaller pilot of the New York City CS students to kind of kickstart that initial growth. Like I said, my name's Perla. I'm a cybersecurity student at John Jay, but before I was in tech, I was an artist. As someone who's an engineer myself, the importance of a well-engineered application or platform. So I hope to put the $5,000 towards the first chunk of building an MVP and getting those iterations going, hearing user feedback, and really building out the best application possible. Next up is the marketing to build that community around the app, so we really have that strong community of all these technical, craft builders going. And then operations, as anyone knows, when you start a venture, there are some unforeseen costs or fees or anything like that.
I like the community building piece of it. Is you said you're going to put some dollars in the market. What would you do with marketing dollars?
I really want to create that identity, and I want to invest in that identity from the get-go. So people look at our logo or look at our colors and know what you're talking about. You see that community and you automatically feel connected to have those emotions. You don't even realize it's coming from the genius behind the marketing and identity.
There's no co-founding or anything like that. So I'm struggling to understand what type of projects do you want to match people for, and if people are paying for a subscription to the platform, how are you going to vet that people have the qualifications that they say they do?
Like I said, it's not co-founder matching, so you're not trying to start a company. Projects, when I say projects, I mean personal projects. A lot of computer science students know this. You need those personal projects to showcase your skills. So the way we're kind of vet people or match people is based on our algorithm, using some, sprinkle some AI in there to make it as amazing as possible as we can. Maybe evaluation would come also from the understanding of user feedback. So once we kind of have the idea of having actual users on this application, we can refine that algorithm and make it better and make it stronger so your matches are stronger.
I'd like to start off by answering a simple question. How many movies are playing right now in New York City? Well, to start off, we can simply go to Google and type that in, and you'll get this screen, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. It will show you a maximum of 50 movies, which is a lot, but there are definitely more. But a key flaw here is that the movies that they're showing you are very heavily influenced by Hollywood's marketing departments. People want to have that experience of going outside to the movie theater. People want to have the social experience of seeing something new with someone. And we integrate and sort by community rankings from platforms like IMDb or Letterboxd. This makes it so that you are seeing the movies that are good and been popular. There are some incredible movies playing right now that don't get promoted by the mainstream platforms. It's like we're living inside of a streaming service and have no way of accessing it. I already have a working version of the website. I developed it in February and soft launched it in March. We already gather thousands of showings every week. We've had hundreds of unique visitors, and we're constantly gathering feedback. I also have an upcoming newsletter collaboration with one of my colleagues in the film industry. I've already used the website to see some incredible films. I get messages from people sometimes saying that they've bought tickets off my website, and I'm always very proud to have that happen. I'd like to improve the technology behind the scenes to integrate an AI data processing system that allows me to more easily expand to new theaters or even new cities down the line. I would also like to work with theaters directly to monetize ticket purchases, earn revenue, explore promotion, and I would aim to sort of create a cultural hub for screenings, reviews, events, and make Screens.nyc the go-to place. Why I chose this project, it exists as the intersection of two of my biggest passions, technology and media. And recently I've been working to build up a professional network of media professionals who are also share the same passion.
What would you do? What's your thinking on partnerships?
The current industry standard for platforms like Fandango and Atom Tickets is that they charge a convenience fee on tickets. This is an infrastructure that doesn't really exist that much for independent theaters, which is why they aren't typically featured on these websites, amongst other reasons. We want to set up an infrastructure that allows these theaters to get this exposure while being able to also support our operations and future growth.
Hard to pay any fees to Fandango on some of the sites that you're pulling information from.
And because it's non-commercial, I don't pay any API fees. I'm actually running it off a student developer grants of I've spent less than 200 getting this running. If I were to register this as a business and start getting in revenue, I would have to pay for the platform that I get the actual movie posters and description.
How are you going to compensate? Because right now, movie theaters really are struggling to get people in seats?
It's definitely been hard times for movie theaters, especially since COVID. One of the issues that they have is discoverability. This shows an order of highest ranking movies, right? And typically you have to go pretty deep to get something from the big chains. You have to go to like 10 different websites to find these movies. So that's one of the things that we really aim to fix here is getting people towards these seats and sort of promoting the fact that there are all these movie theaters in New York City and they're worth going to.
I attended CCNY, I'm currently a student there. I finished my bachelor's in biomedical engineering last year, and I'm currently pursuing a master's in translational medicine, which is kind of like an MBA for medical technology.
There's like 10 wires that go across the chest when EKG is done. These wires get tangled up, they get very difficult to put on the chest, they fall off, and it becomes a very problematic situation. These times can take up to 5 minutes. And it's such a problem that the American Heart Association published a paper that showed clear correlation between EKG acquisition times and patient mortality rates. So around January, we decided to enroll in the Dahan competition at CCNY, which also helped jumpstart us. So they provide us with the guidance, the resources that we need to help develop this product and this prototype. So we interviewed countless nurses, EMTs, medical directors, doctors, pretty much everybody in the emergency medicine ecosystem to truly understand the problem and what it is that they need to solve the problem. That helped us identify 4 features we want in our product. Number 1 is a built-in algorithm for lead placement detection.
So it's basically an algorithm to help detect where the wires are supposed to go and if they're placed correctly and they have good contact with the skin. The second feature is going to be a retractable wire reel for each of the wires. So that'll kind of be like a tape measure system where you can pull it out and it'll reel back in. Thirdly, we want to include Bluetooth communication with existing EKG machines that are already in ambulances or emergency rooms or wherever this is going to be used.
And last, we want to include a physical port as a Bluetooth failsafe, just in case the Bluetooth doesn't work. So this device isn't an EKG machine itself, but rather a supplementary modular device that'll help act as a connection between the EKG machine, which collects the data, and the patient who needs it. You can see the actual hardware part. It looks very ugly right now, but it's getting put together. We have the wire reel mechanism sort of working, and we're trying to perfect it now. And also, the bottom, we made a really big breakthrough last week. We were able to send a signal via Bluetooth. So this is the signal that we collected, and this is what we attached on the receiver side, all without touching the patient.
Around April last year, I decided to enroll in the same competition. I worked on a solution, pitched it, and I won $10,000.
We come from several different backgrounds. Everybody brings in their own knowledge, their talents, their skills, and helps provide a very holistic approach to this problem. $10,000 here. There's also $50,000 we're competing for at Zon. We want to use all of these funds to help push prototype development. There's still a lot to be done. We're still very, very early. And we also need the funds to file for IP protection, and most importantly and most expensively is FDA approval.
Could you explain the lead tube component a little bit better?
This side would be the actual EKG side. This collects all the signals from the EKG machine, and it sends it via Bluetooth to this. And then this would plug into the EKG machine, and it would just send all the signals via Bluetooth to the EKG machine. So instead of having the patient connected to a giant machine, it's a lot easier to maneuver in an ambulance or an emergency room or wherever you are.
But who do you sell this to?
When you work in healthcare, the ecosystem is a little complicated because you have the beneficiaries who are the patients, you have the buyers who are like VPs of finance, you have the users who are providers. So it's a very difficult ecosystem to navigate. And we think that we need to develop value propositions for everybody in the ecosystem. And for actual people who make these buying decisions, for them it's really just, it reduces costs because now this machine will last longer, it'll be cheaper to use, and they won't have to replace it so often. And it'll just increase the patient throughput within the hospital and ambulance.
Do you have like a time frame on how you expect to spend on it? Lab work, clinical trials?
We're still focusing on prototype development right now. We aim to finish prototype around the end of 2025, beginning 26.
We hope to then start having our pre-subs meeting with the FDA and start working on FDA approval and get all the clinical trials necessary.
It just complements the current machines to make the process easier?
Yes.
Can you explain me a little bit more how?
That wire, it gets tangled up, it's difficult to use, it breaks, and it's just not the best system. So this is kind of to replace that wire to make it easier for the patient to connect to the machine and to read the results quicker and more efficiently.
I worked in a multitude of different restaurants such as mom and pops to 2-star Michelin restaurants and a Fortune 500 company. MONCALA was born from my frustration of having to tell guests that unfortunately we couldn't accommodate their celebrations due to the limitations of the restaurants.
Gifting is not a new concept, but gifting in hospitality is fragmented. The pre-pray process requires a minimum of an hour,
in addition to meticulous paperwork just to send a simple cocktail.
Let me introduce to you MONCALA, an AI gifting platform designed to offer gift suggestions,
gather guest details, track reservation and celebration information while also delivering a level of personalization.
MONCALA aims to tap into this hospitality market by offering 3 revenue channels: small service fees,
B2B platform partnerships and licensing. In addition to that, corporate gifting packages with all packed with loyalty points. Guests and corporations can instantly send drinks and desserts to the table, but also they can cover a portion of the full amount of the check. We handle the logistics, ensuring real-time gifting without frictions so that restaurants can focus on delivering excellent service. Essentially, we'll have a centralized platform in which large corporations such as Bank of America or Goldman Sachs can actually import their members or clients into it. We'll also be able to see what the gifting requests are and then complete it. We also have that concierge aspect where guests, we can contact the guests to figure out more details or what they need in order to actually perform or complete that transaction. I also intend to expand upon our operational technical feature in addition to legal setup, strategic branding, and pilot inventory. I've invested initially $3,000 of my own savings into MONCALA. That includes brand visibility, platform subscriptions, in addition to testing.
How does MONCALA help in terms of getting the restaurant to say yes, and then also get the customer to get what they want? Who buys the items? Who brings them? How does the logistics of the business work?
What we will do is gather your reservation details on what exactly the celebration is and how you have it to that image. Then communicate to the restaurant and say, hey, you have a reservation right now for a guest, one of our clients, that's actually at 12 p.m., let's just say, for example. I would say, can you place in the notes what this is being ordered, what this is being delivered, and also I need you to place it on the table before they arrive. But what we will do is go ahead and purchase it. That's the prepay aspect of it. So you tell us what you want, you prepay for what those items are, in addition to our service fees.
Review again what your fee structure is.
The small fee is for guest facing, so if guests are looking to actually send any drink, whether it's a cocktail or dessert, to the table, we will then perform a $5 or $10 transactional fees depending on the complexity of the delivery.
More and more species are becoming endangered, if not extinct, and this is leading to devastating impacts on both our ecosystems, our habitats, many of which we as humans sustain within. This is also leading to accelerated climate change issues, as well as devastating impacts on local communities and economies which survive on wildlife-related tourism. Now, having developed many platforms prior to this, we've heard from people at the front lines of this fight telling us that they don't have the technology, information, or resources they need to respond most effectively. This is most paramount in terms of animals coming into ports or customs in which your typical law enforcement professional or customs officer is unable to identify the wildlife. In those cases, it either leads to a misidentified wildlife, wrongly carried out protocols, or in others, having to call a biological professional to the scene, which takes precious time away from the wildlife, their recovery, their protection. I'll walk you through our minimum viable project now, which I'll note is currently being deployed within South America and Sub-Saharan Africa, where our team is currently based. We have many government endorsements and geo endorsements within these continents. So as users enter the platform, they're of course brought to our homepage. From there, they are offered the ability to simply take a picture of a wildlife on their mobile device, to maybe upload one from their computer or their tablet, and from there, instantaneously identify the wildlife. So in the case of this, we have the African wild dog. It will flag endangered species, it will flag animals in which are being illegally trafficked, and probably the most coolest of them all is venomous species. Imagine the implications here for medical professionals, those who may be encountering a bite. The app is also able to identify birds and even insects. No app in the market is able to do such a feat. Our teams work within the Alliance International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the IUCN has fact sheets for every single animal in the world. It's just a matter of pointing our users to those fact sheets, in which our app does. I'd also like to thank my team for traveling many miles here today, including Yolanda Eisenstein from the Animal Law Commission and Jim Karani from the Lawyers for Animal Protection in Africa. With your help, we're going to be able to scale this thing.
Who are the users of the app?
We're mainly government and law enforcement professionals, so having worked in this field for quite a bit now, working with USAID and other State Department grants, we have really a broad spectrum of end users and which we're looking to deploy this with. It also considers the NGO or the public sphere as well, right? An interest there.
Okay.
How do you plan to use the $10,000?
Trademarking this, copywriting the code is of paramount importance to ensure that nobody steals this idea, takes it and runs. The second of which is getting my team to both Australia and Abu Dhabi, where we're going to have those leading conservation organizations and professionals worldwide, as well as investors who need to finance this.
And I am the CEO and founder of the Lighthouse clothing brand. We are here to break the barriers that withholds you from showing your compassionate heart to others in need. Homelessness is increasing dramatically. This strips children, parents, brothers, and sisters from the right to shelter, education, and so much more. So the goal is to gain enough profit to then build an organization where it can house the homeless people for 1 year. We'll provide them education on all the essential needs they need to go now. In the bags, there are shirts. These t-shirts are made by cotton, but the problem is that it's not something that I want to continue doing because I know that it's impactful to the world itself. How many of you guys are familiar with sugarcane? These type of things we want to use to implement into, we want to weave them into fabrics where we can use and have sustainable clothing. We want to give you sustainable, clean, and fresh clothing, and we're coming to you in a medium we know you love and you want. $10,000 in Nigeria is $16 million. So I am looking to also use that money to have my own factory in Nigeria, based in Nigeria, and also where these clothing are able to be actually produced and then sent to America. Marketing is going to be done in America, of course. And marketing is so important. It's not familiar for people to use sugarcane or plantain for their own clothing. So we are definitely looking into doing more research and development in that aspect. When it comes to employees, I'm actually looking to start this, my mission to help homeless people out early on by providing jobs to homeless people. Sometimes, people are on the train and they're saying, I'm homeless or I need a job or whatever. What I do is I ask them for their information. So later on, when I get everything up and running, I'll be able to reach out and provide them, early access.
Does the fabric already exist and you're setting up a cut and sew operation, or are you buying blanks?
The dresses that were in the back, it takes about, let's say, $10 to make them in Nigeria. The fabrics, they are already out there, but the thing is that they're chemical processes and it's not as clean. But what we want to do is make it as clean as possible so that we just give you guys what you deserve.
Tell me how you got involved. Why is this so important to you?
I don't want people on the streets to just stay there. And I've got money, honestly. So with what I want to do, what I can do, the clothing brand, I want to start off with that. When you see them, your heart just falls in. They don't have enough and they don't have the needs, or the system isn't really helping. You see people on the streets and it's not something that is a really permanent fix, but what we're trying to do is make it a permanent fix for people. This nonprofit organization is actually going to develop them into having their own house, whatever it needs to be.
Today I'm presenting Teen Sitters New York City. We have over 760,000 families with kids that need help fast. On the other side of this, we have a lot of untapped teen potential. There are over 130,000 unemployed teens between the ages of 16 and 19 in New York City.
And the ones that are employed are earning minimum wage in maybe retail or food service jobs that make it difficult to pursue education alongside.
We're providing a preference-based babysitter recommendation platform. We're targeting New York City working families, and we're providing trained babysitters that are reliable, flexible, and personalized to the family's needs. Now, on the teen side, we're providing childcare training, an online community, and job matching. We're targeting New York City teens aged 16 to 21, and we're providing them with flexible, high-paid childcare work that they wouldn't be able to access otherwise.
This is the sitter side. It begins with the training, educational modules, culminating in a final exam. If the final exam is passed, we move forward to a 50% off CPR certification subsidized by Teen Sitters New York City.
At that point, they become a certified teen sitter, and they advance to the Discord community where they can access a community of other teen sitters trying to find jobs. Parents communicate their scheduling needs and any criteria that they have in babysitters. Moving forward, I propose a few sitters based on their specifications that they submitted in the first form, and then it moves to the interview and trial period. It's a 30-minute Zoom interview, followed by an in-person trial, which is the first chance for the teen to meet the family and the family to meet the teen.
If all goes according to plan, we move forward to the child care, where they can book them for kind of more scheduled care or more flexible care. In May, I'm going to finalize the educational materials in the final exam on the sitter side. In June, I'm going to finalize the website, the online Discord, and the parent intake process.
In July, I'm going to start networking. I'm going to reach out to all the past families and say, listen, I'm starting this business. I'm going to give you all a free trial. That's going to accelerate word of mouth. I'm gonna have the $10,000 prize as well as $3,000 of my own personal funds. $3,500 is gonna go to legal and insurance. I'm gonna need to have business creation. I'm gonna need to sign some disclaimers and contracts. Third, I'm gonna be spending $5,000 on marketing and promotion. I'm targeting existing parent social groups, things like Personal Parents, Nextdoor. And on the teen side, I'm gonna use social media.
I have over 7 years experience as a teen sitter in New York City. I have worked as a babysitter, lifeguard, counselor, and coach, and I've made over $15,000 on the field babysitting. My highest rate was $50 an hour, and I've worked with over 30 plus families in my 7 years of time. Really, where this idea came to me was in my freshman year, where I was working with 4 families for $400 weekly. I was being paid, and I was only working 15 hours, and I really saw the opportunity here, and that was while pursuing a full-time bachelor's degree.
Are you planning the schedule between the parents and the teens? Are you checking all the forms, or is it an AI, or do you have some sort of, because I assume it's going to go on the forms?
So with the first cohort, I'm gonna have 20 teen sitters. That's what I'm aiming for, and then I'm gonna match them all. At that scale, I can probably handle it, but you're right, as it scales, I'm gonna need to expand and maybe take on some more teams or explore AI integration. But right now, I'm aiming it on a first cohort basis.
Are you solely doing the interviews and the matching, or are you turning to outside professionals to do that?
The interviewing is gonna be done by the families. So all I'm doing is facilitating the meeting between them, but at the end of the day, it's the family's decision. They're the people that their kids are gonna be worked with, so.
Have you checked on prices for liability insurance, and how much liability insurance are you planning to start with?
So liability is big. I don't want to be liable if a teen sitter makes a mistake, or for example. So I have to look more into it, but I did some research and $3,500 looks like a good startup cost, at least for the first cohort.
Retail investors get their information from Twitter or Reddit. If you talk about the current platforms out there, they're too expensive, like the Bloomberg terminal, that's $25,000 a year, and only the big players could use it. If you talk about small startups, they charge you anywhere between $200 to $500 on a monthly subscription fee for financial data and to make people literate about what's happening in the market. But what we are going to do is create personalized solutions, real-time updates like tweets, personalized memos, and investment research. And Market Dice is going to make it simple for you to invest and learn about the markets in a gamified manner. We have a vision and an action map for the next 3 years. In the 12 months, we're going to have 100,000 followers on our social media platforms, 10,000 paid users paying us $10 to $20 a month. That's going to disrupt the industry. We're going to make $120,000 in 12 months. I worked last summer with a startup incubator called Deving through the Blackstone Launchpad, and I understood how startups work, raise capital, and how products are built. Before that, I worked as a financial research analyst with a equity research firm. So I know how these reports are prepared. They're too wordy. I know a normal person cannot understand how this thing works. I'm also part of multiple financial organizations on campus, and being part of multiple competitions like the Federal Reserve Challenge competition and the Blackstone Launchpad competition. I know this thing cannot be done alone, so I have 2 team members. They're NYU grads, and they're helping me build the AI infrastructure right now. $4,000 is going to go into make the MVP a product that's going to be launched soon, because we have the NLP model that we built right now. That's a proprietary technology we worked on the past 3 months, and we have that. But we're going to pay for the premium APIs for the $4,000. $3,000 are going to go into viral social media content strategy that's going to give us a boost. And $2,000 for the legal and user testing experience for $1,000.
The gamification's fascinating, but have you thought about the demographics?
Yeah, so the gamification is to target the younger audience, because this is the age of scrolling. And I know like people that do not have time to read a 22-page equity research report, so we're going to target the younger audience that range from 18 years to 35 years. But with this platform, we're going to have like Twitter's like alerts and memos. So we're going to target an audience who have capital from $5,000 to $25,000. I'm targeting students with $10,000 in their Robinhood account.
How many followers do you have on social platforms?
So currently we're just on a testing phase. We have around like 500 followers on Twitter. Once we have the funds, we're going to generate content through AI. That's what the NLP model we worked on is. So we're not going to create the content. It's the NLP model, the AI infrastructure that's going to create the content looking at the user base.
If I understand correctly, just to explain, it's primarily going to be student-driven?
No, it's going to be for everyone out there who's ready to learn about the market. It's going to be you who wants to invest money and do not want to get on the phone.
Except I'm not 18 to 20.
You might have a Twitter page.
Got it, thank you.
I am a student at BMTC, an entrepreneur, and I'm a guitarist, a performer. I really enjoy music in general. Lessup is a music streaming app. So the way that you guys are listening to Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, we are that. The thing is, we provide modification tools. You can modify it to your desires. You don't have to go into an editing tool. You don't have to pirate a song. You don't have to do any of that. All of it is just in our app.
Adjusting the pitch, or adding reverb, or maybe you just want to listen to the vocals of the artist. Maybe just like you want to do some karaoke. It's all up to you, really. You don't have to do none of that. You can just listen to the songs normally.
Well, obviously, this will cost a lot because like having music licenses will cost us a lot of money to have in general. We're not like Spotify, where like in general they have like that budget of like $100,000. We don't have that. But what we want to do is we want to target small independent artists. No other platform provides this. Again, if you want to do this, you'll either have to pirate a song, which is like a long process, go to an editing tool, and then finally you can listen to a song. But that's just one song, so you have to repeat the whole process. Or you go to YouTube or any third-party application, and then you'll have to listen to it, do another application which, you know, has ads most likely. We want to be able to create a prototype that people can use. That way you can get like a more clear example of what it is.
Yeah, there's already a community building up, and like you can find Reddit or whatever, YouTube in general.
Imagine someone creates a version of a song from a famous artist. Let's say I want to create a version of Shake It Up by Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And people actually start listening to my version, and I want to put my version out there. How does it work with all the rights?
Everything will be inside the app. So like, yeah, as soon as you enter the app, there will be like some, you know, agreements that you'll have to make. The way you listen to music will be like you can't really share it outside. If you do that, it's on your responsibility. The artist will still get paid. It won't go to like anyone else. If you want to modify it, you're still like, you know, doing it for the artist.
So have you worked through the model of paying the artist and things? So you're focused on the independent.
Yeah.
You have some experience now on how much they're going to want and things like that, so make sure it's sustainable.
I've spoken to small independent artists around the city, of like, for example, like garage bands from like here around the city. They told me that like usually they get paid around 2 cents per stream. Like that's usually how it works. I currently do not have the knowledge of the finance area of it, but if anything, you can contact me at lessupofficial@gmail.com.
You get around the legality of taking someone's music and changing it.
Yeah, this is a whole new concept. Like this is like something that's really new. People are going somewhere. As I mentioned, they're usually going to like YouTube or a third-party application. So at least with us, they'll be getting paid with it. So these people will be coming to our platform instead of YouTube. Instead of pirating their song, they'll be coming to our platform, and they'll be getting paid.
What's something that over 70% of college students experience, and that's linked to all these diseases? Loneliness. Exactly. Loneliness. We are in the middle of a loneliness epidemic with the same mortality as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. This is also a school problem, because you know what it means when students are not connected? They are less motivated. They skip classes and they end up drunk in school. Bathuly is a centralized space where students can find, create, and join events all across 25 CUNY campuses. Bathuly lets you see where your friends are going to and meet students based on your shared interest, major, and also schedule. We believe everyone will benefit from Bathuly. This is one example by a director of student life at CUNY. She thinks Bathuly could actually help the school to attract more sponsorship and scholarship. We're going to start with 250 CUNY students, but the potential goes way beyond that, because if Bathuly can work in CUNY, that is one of the biggest and most complex public university system in the country, then it can work anywhere. And we already have 30 students sign up to our newsletter, even with zero marketing spend. Bathuly doesn't just show you a list of events, it shows you the right events based on your interest, your location, and even your free time, thanks to our integrated calendar. Bathuly students are on the center of the experience. They are not just viewers, but they are contributors, they are community builders, and they are part of a community. And we started working on it just 8 months ago, but this is already our third competition. We won the first one, and we are using every single dollar of the prize to make it real. And we put in hundreds of hours of research, interviews, and testing. We will generate revenue directly from university. With just $10,000, we can build and launch our MVP at Baruch and bring school on board. And with modern no-code platform and other student help, it's absolutely possible to build something real, functional, and scalable with limited budget. We are both CUNY students building this for other CUNY students because we can solve student problems better than students. Thank you.
On the business model of getting CUNY to pay for the students, have you had any discussions on that, and are they willing?
So for now, we validate the problem. We know that the school has a problem. We talk also to other departments. They said sometimes people don't show up to their events. They spend a lot of money on that. As soon as we have a student on board and we show them that it's actually something real, we are very positive they can see the benefit they can have also financially.
In Guinea, we use individual contributions or donations. In America, it's mostly taxes. But the problem is that they are still using pen and paper. They are operating like we are still in the 1970s. They use word to mouth, WhatsApp, and Facebook. In fact, here is a book, a video on how they are still using. They mark their membership, their contributions, and any project that they are using. Here is a clear picture of the book. You can see how they are putting their money down and the months and projects. Imagine if you are doing the same thing with the taxes in America. And now I want to take all of what I've shown you on paper and put a hub for these communities to use so that they will have all the tools in one application. The first feature will be their roster. You can see on top the president of the association. The next tool, which is also very important, is for the finances. With here you can see the annual drive, for example, who has contributed, and also how much money have they spent in a program, let's say the youth development program. And the next tool is for their communication, where they can go back and forth, communicate without having to use WhatsApp and Facebook. This community is not only in Guinea, it's all over West Africa. We have 17 countries. Right now it is estimated to have around 5 million communities in West Africa alone, and Postbridge is planning to onboard around 15,000 in the first year. I did a prototype landing page. I also built a team in Guinea, and in April I also participated at the CUNY Startup, where Postbridge ended up at second place among 14 teams. And also last week, I attended a tabling where they have organized a soccer tournament around the West African communities. I encourage them to have early sign-ups, but also have feedback because they are the ones who will be using this application. It will cost us $5 to onboard a community, which will leave us at $15 per community. Let's say we onboard 500 communities, the revenue will be around $120,000 per year. We don't have a competition right now. The landscape, they are using Facebook, WhatsApp, and paper. And Postbridge will be a very user-friendly mobile app tailored for these communities only. We are planning to use the 10,000 to build the web app as a beta version. I've spoken to many other developers, and we believe that with the newest tools right now, we can build a viable web app so that we can have them tested. And the 9,000 will go for software development fees, hosting fees, and design. And the remaining 1,000, we will use that to onboard the first 15 communities that we have already spoken to, and we will collect feedback because they are real users. We had many interviews in person here in Paris, New York, as well as in Conakry, and they all agree that transparency is very, very important, and also Postbridge will improve engagement. This is the team. First is myself, and next is for public and client relations. Tijan is working at a big company right now in Guinea, known as Muna. I think he's a software engineer here at Google. He is helping us, advising us on how to build the web app. I was born and raised in Guinea until I moved here in 2017. I came to Baruch to pursue my education. I also have spent 1 year at Harvard Business School as an MBA student, and right now I'm working as an operational manager at Amazon. And when I was in Guinea, I was a member, but also a leader of these communities.
So it looks like you've already got some users. And so how do you go outside Guinea, and then is the money there for them to pay for the use of this?
Yes, because this non-profit, if you go back home, we value giving back to the community more than anything else. So we have These are communities, if you look, they build schools, they build churches, they build even roads and bridges. We have a community that's like my dad level. These people have everything that they have been working forever, so there's a big money going around.
Let's start with the third place. Second place is Naomi. The winner is Pulsebridge.
One more time.
3, 2, 1.